This is a 2003 Honda Civic SIR. It was marketed in the US as the Honda Civic, but here in Canada, it's called the SIR. That makes me think it's like English or something, right? Oh, hello, sir. Would you like to pick up your Honda Civic SIR?
After I'm done my tea, please.
This car is completely stock. It has a 2-liter K20A motor, I believe.
A3, yep.
A3 with 160 horsepower, 132 pounds-feet of torque. This has got some bigger tires on it, but other than that, it's completely stock. And this car is almost new. It's got 60,000 kilometers on it, which is about 36,000 miles. So let's go for a quick drive and see how we like it. Woohoo! All right, so the car weighs about 2,700 pounds. It's got 160 horsepower. So the power to weight ratio is actually pretty similar to the BRZ and the FRS. So it's got about a little bit worse, about 17 pounds per horsepower. So the suspension has not been upgraded. Nope. I can tell we've still got some original struts in here, and we're bottoming out a little bit. But hey, for a 13-year-old car, it's not bad. And these tires are pretty sticky on it. He's got some 235 section tires on 16 or 17-inch wheels.
17.
On 17s.
Kind of big.
Pretty big for this car. I think it came stock with 195s or something like that. So it actually sticks pretty well in the corners.
Despite the roll?
Despite a little bit of body roll. Because these tires are super sticky. What I like about this car, of course, it's the steering is actually pretty good. This is one of the early electric racks, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
I don't think this is hydraulic. I think it's electric, and it's actually, it's not too bad. The shifter is interesting because this thing is basically in the dashboard, which is an interesting spot for the shifter to be. The steering wheel's pretty nice, and it still feels, even though it's 14 years old, it still has sort of a modern car feel to it, which I like. Obviously, a pretty, I don't know if I call it revolutionary, but a pretty, VTEC was kind of a big thing back in the day, back in 2003. We got a 1-lane bridge over here. So this has got the i-VTEC, which is intelligent VTEC. I don't exactly know what makes it smart, but it's certainly got the pretty classic VTEC kick at around, I think it's around $5,000. The VTEC comes on. There it is, like, whoa, VTEC, dude! And it's got about 2,000 RPMs of a little VTEC action. The brakes are not bad. A little bit of understeer. You can feel a little bit of torque steer. This is obviously an earlier suspension setup. But this is a lot of fun. How much did you pay for this?
5,000.
5,000 bucks Canadian. So that's, I don't know what that is US, about $4,000 US maybe.
Yeah, probably right now.
Something like that. That's a really good deal for a car that is, practically new. I mean, the interior is in fantastic shape in this thing. It really doesn't drive too badly. I think if you're going to do anything, probably just, put some new struts in it, and you'd probably be pretty good to go.
Coilovers.
Some coilovers.
Yes.
I mean, the brakes are not bad at all. The ride is actually pretty decent. I like the steering. I like the squeaky clutch.
All part of quirks.
There's that VTEC, yo. I mean, the motor sounds really, really good after all these years. It still drives like a brand new motor for all intents and purposes. The car drives really nicely. It's a pretty interesting package. This was made in the UK, I think in Swindon, England, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
These particular ones. It's a 5-speed. The transmission is still pretty nice. It's still got that really classic Honda snick, very light, cable-operated kind of feel. And I like that. It's a really low-effort transmission, very easy to shift. The clutch is super easy to deal with as well. So this was marketed in the US as the SI, marketed here as the SIR for I don't know what possible reason.
Yeah, apparently RSI was your EX, basically.
Okay. So, but this is for all essential purposes the Civic Si. So, you know, low displacement motor, 2 liters, not a lot of grunt at the bottom end, but there's that VTEC right there, and all the torque comes on, and it's really not bad for the weight of the car. And the car has certainly held up really, really well over over the last 14 years or so, and you were probably about 3, right? So
maybe I was 6. I was 6.
So I do like it. The instrument cluster is pretty clean. It's white with black numerals on it. Very easy to read. The rev counter is pretty easy to read too. The tach, easy to deal with. Pretty easy to heel and toe as well. I like the pedal placement. That's always nice. Heel and towing is not something that every manufacturer thinks about too much, but it seems like Honda certainly put some thought into it back then. And the styling is pretty interesting. I think this is some of the more controversial Honda styling of the era. Some people call it the egg, although it's not really egg-shaped, but it certainly has a, how would you describe it?
I don't know, like all my friends say it's the ugly duckling of the bunch of SIs.
So I'll leave that for you guys to decide. It certainly is benefiting from this much bigger wheel and tire package that he's got on here. These bigger section tires. And this is a really pretty day. I've got to say, I'm impressed for the amount of money that you spent on this car. I definitely like it. For $5,000, it's pretty good.
One of the better deals I've gotten in a car.
Yeah, this is a great deal, and I know people are still searching for this car online, which is interesting to me. So it's still, it's got the Honda mystique to it, and I can compare this a little bit to the BRZ that I drove about a week ago, and there's going to be a video that's already up actually. So I'm posting a video for that. That's a pretty modified BRZ, but with stock power, and the BRZ has definitely gotten a little bit more oomph, but not a ton more than this. But this, I can certainly see the roots of this car, in the new FRS BRZ combination. Even though it's rear-wheel drive, it definitely has that sort of Japanese feel. It's the same combination of low horsepower but lightweight, which makes the car pretty tossable, and pretty good brakes and a nice transmission. And I think if you put some coilovers on this thing, this would be pretty good, actually. I mean, it's really not bad as it is right now.
Just the body roll gets scary.
Little bit of body roll here.
Ooh, what's this way?
Oh, I don't know. I just thought I'd take a tight corner. So
sweet.
So I think with a sway bar or two and some coilovers, this thing would handle really, really nicely.
That's a lot of things what the people in the community say to do is put a RSX Type S sway bar at the back. And they said it'll definitely stiffen things up. Yeah, I mean, like pretty much all cars, this suffers from a little bit of understeer when you're pushing it. Not a big surprise. Every manufacturer dials in some understeer for safety, and this is not it's not the newest car in the world, so it's probably suffering from a little bit of, the rubber is probably a little bit softer than it was too. But some coilovers, RSX sway bar in the back. You have a pretty fun car. This is pretty fun as it is. So. Oh yeah, one of the most fun cars I've owned.
I like it. And I can't get over how good looking the interior is inside. It looks practically new in here. It's amazing.
It was well taken care of.
Yeah.
It's a rare car to find too.
It is a pretty hard car to find. So, anyways, thanks for letting me drive. This is a blast. This is a lot of fun. And if you guys like this, if you want to see more car reviews, just hit that subscribe button right over there. Remember to hit the notification bell so you get notified. Otherwise, YouTube won't let you know. And remember, guys, keep the pedal down. Boom.